My best friend married my ex-BNSDL 3 months after he left me, and now she's hired me to plan their baby shower, not knowing I'm carrying his child too. When Taylor's text came through asking to meet at Elm Street Lodi, I almost declined, but curiosity won. I needed to see her face when she told me whatever was so incredibly important it required an in-person conversation after 6 months of awkward silence. "Emma, you look amazing," she gushed, sliding into the booth opposite me. Her diamond ring caught the light, the same design Jason had once shown me on his phone, asking if I'd like something similar. I forced a smile. Like she wanted to talk, Taylor beamed, placing her hands protectively over her stomach. "I'm pregnant. 12 weeks, Jason is over the moon." The irony wasn't lost on me. 14 weeks ago, I'd discovered my own pregnancy one day after seeing their wedding photos all over Instagram. "Congratulations," I managed, gripping my water glass to steady my shaking hands. "But that's not why I asked you here," she continued, leaning forward. "Your event planning business is taking off, and we want to hire you to organize our baby shower. The best of the best for our little miracle. Our little miracles." The phrase echoed in my head as nausea rolled through me. Morning sickness or pure rage, I couldn't tell anymore. "Taylor, I know things have been weird," she interrupted, "but this could be our fresh start, Plass. We'll pay double your usual rate." She slid a check across the table with a figure that made my eyes widen, considerate a peace offering. The amount would cover my medical bills and 3 months' rent. With my business still recovering from the pandemic and a baby on the way, I needed it desperately. "When would you need this by?" I heard myself ask. 6 weeks from now. Nothing too elaborate, just 50 of our closest friends and family. She reached for my hand. "Please, Emma, no one understands my taste like you do." No one understood Jason like I did either, but that hadn't stopped her. As Taylor rambled about color schemes and venues, my mind raced. 6 weeks of access to their home, their friends, their secrets. 6 weeks to uncover exactly how long their affair had been going on before Jason left me at our rehearsal dinner with nothing but a text. "I can't do this. I am sorry. I'll do it," I said, cutting her off mid-sentence. "But I have conditions." Taylor's smile faltered. "Of course, anything full creative control. Access to your home for planning purposes, and I work primarily with Jason on logistics." Her brow furrowed slightly. "You want to work with Jason? I thought that would be uncomfortable." I shrugged. "It's business, Taylor. Besides, we're all adults." "Right." Later that night, I stared at the ultrasound picture taped to my refrigerator. My phone buzzed with a text from Jason. "Taylor told me you were planning the shower. Greeting, think you'd say yes. Can we meet tomorrow to discuss details?" I typed back. "Your place 1 p.m. Come alone." What Taylor and Jason didn't know was that I'd discovered something in the weeks after our broken engagement, something that would have destroyed not just our relationship but Jason's entire carefully constructed life. I'd stayed silent, too heartbroken and humiliated to fight back. But now, with their baby announcement and my own secret growing inside me, the game had changed. They wanted the perfect baby shower. I'd give them a celebration they'd never forget. The next day, I sat in Jason and Taylor's immaculate living room, surrounded by designer furniture that looked like it belonged in a magazine spread rather than a home where people actually lived. "Sorry I am late," Jason said, bursting through the front door. He stopped abruptly when he saw me, his confident stride faltering. "Emma, you look well. Pregnancy agrees with me," I replied casually, enjoying the flash of panic that crossed his face. "What?" His voice cracked. "Taylor's pregnancy," I clarified, watching his shoulders relax. "She's glowing, though morning sickness is rough. I brought her some ginger tea, helped my sister through her first trimester." Jason nodded, running a hand through his expertly styled hair. "Right, of course." He sat across from me, maintaining a careful distance. "Taylor said you wanted to work directly with me on this." "For logistical reasons," I said, opening my laptop. "Let's get started." For the next hour, we discussed guest lists and venues as if he hadn't left me sobbing in a rented reception hall, surrounded by confused groomsmen and my devastated family, as if I hadn't discovered I was pregnant while still wearing the engagement ring he never asked for back. "Taylor wants a rustic chic theme," Jason said, scrolling through his phone. "Whatever that means, burlap and lace, mason jars, fairy lights." "She's always been predictable," I replied, making notes. "What about Haven predictable?" I replied, making notes. "It was where we'd planned our own wedding before Jason decided to upgrade to a newer model." "One thing I've been wondering," I said, keeping my tone casual. "How did you two get together so quickly after we broke up? You were married within 2 months." Jason shifted uncomfortably. "It just happened. Sometimes things fall into place." "Things fell into place while we were still engaged." His eyes met mine briefly before darting away. "It wasn't like that, no. Because Taylor used to text you at 2 a.m. needing career advice and you'd disappear for hours to help her with her resume." I closed my laptop. "But that's water under the bridge now." "Emma, I need access to your home office to coordinate deliveries," I interrupted. "And I'll need the password to your Wi-Fi." "I don't think that's if you want the shower to be perfect. I need to work efficiently." "I guessed you'd prefer to explain to Taylor why you were making this difficult." He wrote down the password and handed it to me. As our fingers brushed, I remembered how those same hands had once held mine, promising forever. Now they belonged to my former best friend who'd spent years pretending to support my relationship while quietly undermining it. "I have a meeting," Jason said, standing abruptly. "Let yourself out when you are done." After he left, I wandered through their home, noting Taylor's touches everywhere. The same artwork she'd always admired in my apartment, the same scented candles I used to burn in the master bathroom. I counted 3 different pregnancy tests in the trash, as if she needed constant confirmation of her victory. I reached their home office and tried the door locked. Ubale. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "I saw you going into their house. We need to talk. I know what Jason did to you, and to me, Miney at Westside Park, 7 p.m. tonight. Come alone. Michael R. Michael Russell, Jason's former business partner." They'd had a falling out right before Jason left me, something about ethical disagreements that Jason had never fully explained. As I left the house, my phone rang again. "Taylor, how did the meeting go?" she asked. "Great, Jason was very helpful." I lied. "I think I've got everything I need to get started." "Wonderful. I knew you were the right person for this. It means so much having someone who really knows us." I gripped the phone tighter. "That's me, the person who knows you best, Emma." Her voice softened. "I know this might be awkward, but I really do want us to be friends again. After the shower, maybe we could have lunch like old times." Like old times when she would listen to me gush about Jason, offering supportive advice while secretly planning to take him for herself. "Sure, Taylor. That sounds nice." That evening, I sat on a park bench watching joggers pass by, wondering if meeting a stranger was the stupidest decision I'd made lately. Then a tall man in a dark jacket approached, his expression grim. "Emma," he asked, extending his hand. "I am Michael, thank you for coming." "What's this about Jason and Taylor? The company? The money?" He sat beside me. "There are things you need to know. Things that explain why Jason left you so suddenly." "I am listening." 3 days before your rehearsal dinner, Jason transferred $5 million from our company's accounts to an offshore bank. When I confronted him, he claimed it was a legitimate business decision. I frowned. Jason doesn't have authority to move that kind of money. He did after using your family's investment firm credentials to authorize the transfer. Michael's eyes were hard. Credentials I believe he stole from your laptop. As the implications sank in my hand, instinctively moved to my stomach. This wasn't just about a broken heart or a backstabbing friend. This was fraud. Theft. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Because they think they've gotten away with it. Michael handed me a USB drive. Everything's here. Transaction records emails between Jason and Taylor dating back over a year before your breakup and conversations about using your family connections. I stared at the small device, suddenly understanding that my broken engagement wasn't just personal. It was professional criminal. What do you want from me? I asked. Access, Michael replied to both of them, to their home, their records. I am building a case, but I need more evidence, and the baby shower gives me the perfect excuse. I finished the pieces falling into place. Michael nodded. So, are you in? I thought about the child growing inside me, about justice, about revenge. I am in the next morning. Nausea hit me like a tidal wave. I barely made it to the bathroom before emptying my stomach, a cruel reminder of the secret growing inside me. After rinsing my mouth, I stared at my reflection. Dark circles under my eyes, pale skin, not exactly the picture of a woman in control, yet the USB drive from Michael felt heavy in my pocket. Control was exactly what I was about to reclaim. At 9 a.m. I arrived at Taylor and Jason's house as promised. Taylor answered the door in yoga pants and one of Jason's oversized shirts, her small baby bump just visible. Emma, come in. I made smoothies non-dairy. Since I remember you were sensitive to lactose, I'd never been lactose intolerant. That was Taylor's issue, not mine. Just another small betrayal and a mountain of them. She couldn't even keep straight which one of us was which. Thanks, I said, accepting the green concoction. Is Jason home? I need his input on a few things. He left early for a meeting with investors. Taylor sat at their marble kitchen island, but I wanted to talk to you alone anyway, about the guest list. I am all ears. I am thinking we shouldn't invite your parents, she said, studying her manicure. Given the circumstances, it might be awkward. My parents, who had treated Taylor like a daughter for years, who had hosted her when she was between apartments for 6 months, who had no idea their investment firm's security had potentially been compromised by the man they'd welcomed into their lives. Whatever you think is best, I replied, swallowing my anger. It's your shower, exactly. Taylor beamed, mistaking my compliance for acceptance. Now I need to show you my board. I'd been planning this since. She stopped abruptly. Since when? I asked, voice deliberately light. Since I found out I was pregnant, of course. I nodded, letting the lie hang between us. Bait on Michael's timeline. She'd been planning this, all of it, for much longer. I'd love to see the guest bedroom you are converting to a nursery, I said, for decoration coordination, of course. It's upstairs, second door on the right. I'm thinking mint green and gray and neutral, but still stylish. As Taylor prattled on about color schemes, I followed her upstairs, noting the location of Jason's office along the way. The nursery with half-painted boxes of expensive baby furniture waiting to be assembled. This is the room where Jason keeps his home office, right? I asked, pointing to the closed door at the end of the hallway. Yes, but he's very private about his workspace. Very organized, I completely understand. I just need to see the dimensions for planning purposes. I don't have a key, she said quickly. Too quickly. No problem. I can work around it. I snapped a few photos of the nursery. This is lovely. You always had great taste. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you, Jason's mother is flying in next week to help with shower preparations. She's so excited about becoming a grandmother. The same woman who had hugged me at our engagement party, telling me she'd always wanted a daughter like me. I wondered if she knew how quickly I'd been replaced. How wonderful, I said, checking my watch. I should get going. I have a vendor meeting at 11 before you go. Taylor caught my arm, her expression suddenly serious. Are you really okay with all this, with helping us? For a moment, I considered telling her everything. About the baby, about Michael's evidence, about the sickening betrayal that kept me awake at night. Instead, I smiled. Of course. What are friends for? Back in my car, I plugged Michael's USB drive into my laptop. Crangeries of files appeared, financial records, emails, photos. One folder caught my eye. E&J wedding implied were detailed notes about my wedding plans. Everything I'd shared with Taylor during our excited planning sessions alongside calculations of costs and guest lists. They'd been planning their own event, using my wedding as a template even before Jason left me. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Need to meet. Want something important. The usual place, 1 hour. My start at the car, determination replacing the nausea. At the park, Michael was already waiting, pacing nervously. What is it? I asked as I approached. I found evidence that Taylor was involved from the beginning, he said, handing me a folder. She wasn't just the other woman, she was the architect. Inside were printouts of emails between Taylor and Jason dating back 18 months, well before our engagement. The subject line that caught my eye, Emma's family business, Access Porous. They use me, I whispered, the truth finally crystallizing. All of it, the relationship, the engagement. It was to get to my family's firm and your father's client list, Michael added grimly. High net worth individuals perfect for investment fraud. I closed the folder suddenly, struggling to breathe. Why are you helping me? What's your stake in this? Michael's expression darkened. They stole my company too, right from under me, and tried in the same playbook. As we stood there, two people burned by the same pair of con artists. My phone buzzed again. A text from Jason. Need to talk. Come to the office tomorrow, 3 p.m. Don't tell Taylor. I showed Michael the message. It's a trap, he said immediately. He suspects something or an opportunity, I countered. To get into his office, Finn, whatever he's hiding. Michael studied my face. This is dangerous, Emma. These people aren't who you thought they were. I placed a protective hand over my stomach. Neither am I. The next day I arrived at Jason's downtown office precisely at 3 p.m. The receptionist, a new girl who didn't know me, smiled brightly. Mr. Bennett is expecting you. Go right in. Jason's corner office hadn't changed. Same pretentious modern art. Same uncomfortable designer chairs that looked better than they felt. Just like the man himself. Emma, he stood gesturing to a chair. Thank you for coming. Your text sounded urgent, I said, remaining standing. What's this about? Jason closed the door, lowering his voice. I wanted to talk about this arrangement. You planning our shower, having second thoughts. Taylor's thrilled, but I can't help wondering why you agreed. He studied my face, it seems. Masochistic? I allowed a small smile. Maybe I am just being professional. Or maybe you have other motives, he countered. Michael Russell reached out to you, didn't he? My heart rate quickened, but I kept my expression neutral. Should I know who that is? My former business partner. He's been making noise about improprieties at the company. Jason stepped closer. If he sped you some story about meanness stealing from the company, why would I talk to your business partners? I interrupted. I am planning a baby shower, not conducting a financial audit. Jason watched me carefully. Taylor doesn't know about our history together. Our history? I laughed, genuinely amused by his delusion. You mean the 5 years we spent together together? The engagement? The $30,000 non-refundable wedding venue deposit? That history she knows we dated, obviously he backpedaled, but not the details of how things ended. You mean how you texted me I can't do this an hour before our rehearsal dinner, then ghosted me for 3 weeks before announcing your engagement to my best friend on Instagram? Those details, Jason had the decency to look uncomfortable. I handled it badly. I admit that water under the bridge, I replied, adopting Taylor's breezy dismissal. Although I am curious, when did you and Taylor actually start seeing each other? After we broke up, he said too quickly. 3 months of dating, then marriage. That's quite the whirlwind. When you know, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowning. Then I noticed his briefcase partially open. Inside was a folder labeled Cayman Ketter. I quickly snapped photos of several documents inside showing massive transfers to offshore accounts. Jason's voice grew louder in the hallway. I replaced everything and was sitting calmly when he returned. Sorry about that, he said, looking harried. He nodded. Right, I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page. This shower means a lot to Taylor, and I don't want any unpleasantness. Translation. You are afraid I'll cause a scene and reveal what kind of person you really are. That's not Jason, I cut him off. I'm a professional. Whatever happened between us is in the past. I am here to do a job. The relief on his face was palpable. I appreciate that, although I will need access to your home office next time I am there for planning the surprise element Taylor requested. Jason stiffened. What surprise element? She wanted me to add something special just from you. A slideshow or video message. She thought you might have photos in your office I could use. I'll look for some, he offered. That would take too long. I need to see for myself what will work with the presentation. After a moment's hesitation, he pulled a key from his desk drawer. Fine. But please don't disturb my files, of course not. As I left his office, my phone buzzed with a text from Michael. Did you get anything? I responded. Better than that. I got the key to his home office that weekend. I returned to their house under the pretext of measuring spaces for decorations. Taylor was at a prenatal yoga class, a detail I'd scheduled specifically to ensure her absence. Using Jason's key, I unlocked his home office and slipped inside. Akrek, the spotless show home quality of the rest of their house. This room was cluttered with papers and files. I started photographing everything I could find. Financial statements, contracts, emails in the bottom drawer of his desk. Locked but easily picked with a hairpin technique I'd learned from Michael. I found a red file folder containing something unexpected. Surveillance photos of me, dozens of them dating back years with notes in the margins about my family, my career, my connections, pages from a playbook to infiltrate my life. I was still processing this discovery when a noise made me freeze. Keys in the front door. Taylor's voice followed by another woman's. Thought she'd be here already. Quickly, I replaced the file, shut the drawer and exited the office, locking it behind me. I rushed down the hallway and into the nursery, grabbing my tape measure as Taylor appeared at the top of the stairs. Emma, there you are, she said, surprised. This is Jason's mother, Diana. Diana, this is Emma, our event planner. The woman who had once hugged me and called me daughter stared at me with no recognition whatsoever. Lordy to meet you as well, I replied, shaking her hand. I was just taking some final measurements for the decorations in the nursery, Taylor asked, eyes narrowing slightly. Yes, for the gift display area. I think we'll set up a small table here to showcase the more special items. I smiled brightly. Only sly Diana. I'd love your input on the shower games. Perhaps you could share some embarrassing stories about Jason as a baby. As Diana launched into anecdotes, Taylor's suspicion seemed to fade. I spent another hour with them, playing the role of enthusiastic planner while my mind raced with what I'd discovered that night. I met Michael at our usual spot, showing him the photos I'd taken. This is bigger than we thought, he said, scrolling through them. They've been targeting wealthy families systematically, but it will be the last, I replied, watching a young couple push a stroller along the park path. My hand rested on my still flat stomach. What's our next move? We have enough to go to the authorities, Michael suggested, but they might still wriggle out of it. The evidence is circumstantial, then we need something definitive. Something they can't deny, I thought for a moment. Taylor mentioned a nursery designer coming next week to discuss custom murals. I'll be there to coordinate. Be careful, Emma. These aren't just white-collar criminals. The deeper I dig, the more dangerous connections I find. Jason has ties to people who don't solve problems with lawyers. I should have been scared, but all I felt was cold determination. The baby shower is in 3 weeks. That's our deadline. As I stood to leave, Michael caught my arm. Tears, something else you should know. His expression was grave. That baby Taylor's carrying, according to the timeline. It might not be Jason's. I stared at him, the implications swirling through my mind. Who, then? I'm still working on that. But their whirlwind marriage might have had more motivations than we realized as I drove home that night. One thought kept repeating. Inseman in this story was wearing a mask. Even me. 2 weeks before the shower, I found myself in Taylor and Jason's kitchen, reviewing final catering details while Taylor sorted through gift registry notifications on her tablet. Look at this, she said, holding up the screen. Jason's aunt bought us the $900 stroller already. That's great, I replied, checking off another item on my list. By the way, did you decide on the guestbook option? I like the one where guests write advice for the baby, she said, stroking her growing bump. Oceanan has such wisdom to share. I nodded, thinking about the wisdom I'd gained over the past weeks, none of which I'd once inscribed in a pastel-colored memory book. Oh, before I forget, Taylor set down her tablet. I need to show you something upstairs. She led me to the master bedroom and opened her closet, revealing a stunning maternity dress in pale blue silk. For the shower, she explained. What do you think? It's beautiful, I admitted perfectly. Taylor, she beamed, but then her expression shifted to something more serious. Can I ask you something personal? Of course. Are you seeing anyone? Since you know the question caught me off guard. Not really, why? Taylor carefully returned the dress to its padded hanger. I've seen you with a man in Westside Park, Tell. Dark hair, you looked intimate, my blood ran cold. She'd been following me? Or having me followed a business associate, I replied smoothly. We're collaborating on a project. Michael Russell isn't just a business associate, Emma. Taylor's voice hardened. He's Jason's enemy. I kept my expression neutral. I don't know what you are talking about. Don't lie to me. Taylor stepped closer. I saw you with him 3 times. What are you two planning? I am planning your baby shower, Taylor, that's all. Then why were you in Jason's office last week? And don't say you weren't. We have cameras. The revelation stunned me. They'd known all along I was snooping. You gave me the key, I countered, for the surprise element, remember? There is no surprise element. I never asked for that. Her eyes narrowed. What were you looking for? I decided to change tactics. The truth about how long you and Jason were seeing each other behind my back. Taylor laughed, a cold, hollow sound. Is that what this is about? Ancient history? We were engaged, Taylor. You were my maid of honor. And now I am having his baby. Life goes on. She crossed her arms. What do you want, Emma? Money? An apology? I want to understand why. Was it worth it? Betraying me for him? Something flickered across Taylor's face. Hesitation, perhaps perhaps even regret. Then her phone buzzed. She checked it, her expression changing instantly. Jason's on his way home early, meeting cancellation. She fixed me with a hard stare. I won't tell him about this conversation. But whatever game you are playing with Michael Russell needs to stop. Now, or what? Or things will get uncomfortable for everyone. Bear you. She placed a protective hand over her stomach. We're building a family, Emma. Don't make yourself the villain in our story. The front door opened downstairs. Taylor, Jason called upstairs. Honey, Emma's here finalizing shower details. Jason appeared in the doorway, his expression tightening when he saw me. Everything okay? Perfect. Taylor smiled suddenly, the picture of domestic bliss. Emma was just leaving. Actually, I sighed, gathering my courage. There is one more thing I needed to ask you both. They exchanged glances. How long have you had my parents' financial records? The ones Jason stole from my laptop last year? Jason's face drained of color. What are you talking about? I think you know. The fraudulent investments, the offshore accounts. The families you've been targeting, mine included, Emma. Taylor's voice took on a warning tone. You are not making any sense. 3 days before our rehearsal dinner, I continued, eyes locked on Jason. You transferred $5 million from your company's accounts to the Cayman Islands? Was that when you realized you didn't need me anymore? Once you had my family's client list. Jason stepped toward me, his voice dangerously low. Who have you been talking to? Does it matter? The Sekshi will be asking the question soon enough. You are making a mistake, he hissed. You have no idea what you are dealing with. No, you made the mistake, I replied, heading for the door. When you thought I'd just disappear quietly, Jason grabbed my arm, fingers digging painfully. Listen to me very carefully. If you go to the authorities with whatever lies Michael has been feeding you, things will get very unpleasant. I wrenched away from him. Let go of me, Jason. Taylor intervened, pulling him back. Not like this. As I hurried down the stairs, Jason called after me. We know about the baby, Emma. Did you think you could hide it forever? I froze, one hand instinctively moving to my stomach. That's right, he continued, following me down. Taylor has friends at your Obby's office. We've known for weeks. I turned to face them both, and yet you still hired me, strategy? We were trying to help you, Taylor insisted, though her eyes told a different story. Give you closure, financial support. How generous, I spat. But I don't need your charity. Think about what you are doing, Jason warned. If you are carrying my child who says it's yours, I cut him off, the lie coming easily. I moved on faster than you think. The shock on his face was worth whatever consequences would follow. I walked out the front door straight to my car and drove away with my heart pounding. The moment I was safely away, I called Michael. They know, I said when he answered. About us meeting, about the baby. Everything about the baby. Where are you? He demanded, heading home. Number, come to my office. Now, it's not safe at your place. 20 minutes later, I sat in Michael's downtown office as he paced agitatedly. This changes everything, he said. They'll be watching us now closely. They already were, I replied. Taylor admitted they have surveillance cameras in their house. They knew I went into Jason's office. Michael cursed. What exactly did you say to them? I confronted them about the fraud, the stolen client list, the offshore accounts. I buried my face in my hands. I lost my temper. I shouldn't have shown our hand. It's done now. Michael pulled out his phone. I am calling my security contact. You'll need protection until this is over. Over. It's barely begun. The shower is still 2 weeks away. Forget the shower. We need to go to the authorities now before they can hide the evidence. I shook my head. Not yet. We still don't have the smoking gun, just circumstantial evidence and hearsay. Emma, these people are dangerous. They ruined lives, started families, including mine, I reminded him, which is why I am not backing down now. Michael steadied me for a long moment. Here is something I haven't told you. He unlocked a drawer in his desk and removed a thick folder. About Taylor. He spread photographs across the desk, surveillance images of Taylor meeting with various men, none of them Jason. What is this? I asked. Taylor's been running her own game, Michael explained. When Jason doesn't know about these men, all wealthy clients from your father's investment firm. I picked up one of the photos, recognizing the man immediately. This is Richard Chambers, my father's biggest client, and possibly the father of Taylor's baby, Michael added. She's been cultivating relationships with key targets, intimate relationships. The pieces suddenly clicked into place. That's why they got married so quickly. She needed Jason to think the baby was his, exactly. I stared at the evidence of a betrayal even deeper than I'd imagined. Jason doesn't know. I don't think so. He believes they're partners in everything. So Taylor is playing both sides, I murmured into Jason while running her own con. The question is, Michael sat across from me. How do we use this? An idea formed in my mind, dangerous, possibly unethical, but perfect in its symmetry. The baby shower, I said slowly. We don't cancel it, we use it. For what? To let them destroy each other. The morning of the baby shower dawned bright and clear. I'd barely slept, rehearsing every detail of the plan in my mind. Michael had arranged for a security team to be stationed nearby just in case. Habitat looked exactly as I'd envisioned it. Rustic chic perfection with twinkling lights, flower arrangements, and delicate pastel decorations. The kind of fantasy celebration Taylor had always dreamed of before I turned it into her nightmare. Everything looks amazing, the venue coordinator gushed as I arranged gift bags at the entrance. You've outdone yourself, that's what they're paying me for, I replied with a professional smile. The first guests arrived at noon, mostly Taylor's colleagues and Jason's business associates. People who had no idea they were about to witness the implosion of the perfect couple they'd come to celebrate. Taylor made her entrance at 12:30, radiant in her blue silk dress, Jason proudly at her side. They moved through the crowd accepting congratulations, playing the part of expectant parents without a care in the world. If they were concerned about my presence after our confrontation, they didn't show it. Guinea masks all around. Emma Taylor greeted me with an air kiss. Everything looks beautiful, only the best for you, I replied sweetly. The presentation will begin after lunch. Make sure everyone has